I, 35M, just found out my wife Laura, 33F, has been cheating on me with our neighbor Tom, 37M, for the last 3 years. Even worse, I discovered that Tom is actually the biological father of our younger daughter Haley, 2F. I'm completely devastated and don't know what to do. Laura and I met in college 15 years ago. We were both studying business and had several classes together. At first, we were just friends, often studying together and hanging out in the same group. But over time, our relationship grew into something more. We started dating in our junior year and things just clicked. After graduation, we both got jobs in the same city and moved in together. We got married 5 years later, when we were 25 and 23. It was a small ceremony with just close family and friends. We were so happy and excited to start our lives together. We both wanted kids, but decided to wait a few years to establish our careers first. When we were ready, we tried for a while but had some difficulty conceiving. It was a stressful time, with doctor's appointments and fertility treatments. But finally, after almost a year of trying, Laura got pregnant with our daughter Emma. Emma's birth was the happiest day of my life. She was perfect, with Laura's blue eyes and my dark hair. I took 2 weeks off work to help Laura adjust to motherhood. Those first few months were exhausting but amazing. Watching Emma grow and develop new skills was incredible. When Emma was about 4, we decided we were ready for another child. This time, Laura got pregnant quickly and easily. We were thrilled to be expanding our family. Haley was born 2 years ago, and our family felt complete. We moved into our current neighborhood about 4 years ago, just before Haley was born. That's when we first met Tom and his wife Rachel, 35F. They lived 2 houses down from us and seemed like a nice couple. Tom works in IT and Rachel is a teacher. They didn't have any kids, but we found out later they had been trying unsuccessfully for years. At first, we just exchanged friendly waves and small talk when we saw each other outside. But over time, we started hanging out more. We'd have cookouts in each other's backyards, or get together to watch football games. Our kids loved playing with their dog. Tom and Rachel even babysat for us a few times when Laura and I wanted a date night. I considered Tom a good friend. We'd often grab beers together after work or on weekends. He seemed like a stand-up guy. I never suspected anything was going on between him and Laura. About 6 months ago, I started noticing some changes in Laura's behavior. She was spending more time on her phone, being secretive about her messages, and going out more often without explanation. At first I tried not to think much of it, figuring she was just busy with work or needed some time to herself. But as the weeks went on, I got more and more suspicious. She'd get dressed up to go grocery shopping or have long phone conversations in another room. When I'd ask who she was talking to, she'd say it was just work stuff. A few times, I came home early from work to find her scrambling to close browser windows on her laptop. I tried to talk to her about it, ask if everything was okay. But she'd just say I was being paranoid and that nothing was going on. I wanted to trust her, but something felt off. Last week, I finally decided to check Laura's phone while she was in the shower. I know it was an invasion of privacy, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. What I found was far worse than I ever imagined. There were hundreds of intimate texts and photos exchanged between her and Tom going back almost 3 years. They had pet names for each other and talked about how much they loved each other. There were messages coordinating meetups while I was at work or out of town. They even had a code word they'd text each other when they wanted to hook up. But the worst part was yet to come. As I kept reading through their messages, I came across one from around the time Haley was conceived where Laura told Tom she was pregnant and that the baby was definitely his. There were follow-up messages about how they needed to be careful so I wouldn't suspect anything, and how Tom wished he could claim the baby as his own. My daughter, who I've loved and raised for the past 2 years, isn't even mine biologically. Every memory I have of her birth, her first steps, her first words, it's all tainted now. I feel like my whole life for the past 3 years has been a lie. I confronted Laura as soon as she got out of the shower. At first she tried to deny everything, saying I was misunderstanding things. But when I showed her the messages she broke down crying and admitted it was all true. She begged me to forgive her and said she would end things with Tom, but I was too angry and hurt to even consider it. I told her to get out and that I wanted a divorce. Laura left to stay with her sister. I told her not to come back until I figured out what I wanted to do. She's been calling and texting constantly, begging for another chance. But I just can't see how I could ever trust her again after such a massive betrayal that went on for years. The past few days have been a complete nightmare. I've barely been able to eat or sleep. I can't stop thinking about all the times we spent with Tom and his family, knowing now that he and Laura were sneaking around behind my back that whole time. I feel like such an idiot for not realizing what was going on. I haven't told anyone else about the situation yet. Emma is confused about why Mommy suddenly left and keeps asking when she's coming home. I've just been telling her that Mommy had to go away for work for a while. I have no idea what to do about Haley. Even though she's not mine biologically, I still love her and have raised her as my own for the past 2 years. But every time I look at her now I'm reminded of Laura's betrayal. Tom's wife Rachel deserves to know the truth, but I'm not sure if I should be the one to tell her or how to even approach that conversation. Part of me wants to confront Tom and beat the crap out of him, but I know that won't actually solve anything. I'm meeting with a lawyer next week to discuss my options for divorce and custody. I definitely want primary custody of Emma, but I'm torn about what to do regarding Haley. Legally, I'm still her father since I'm on the birth certificate, but knowing she's not biologically mine makes things more complicated. Lara has been blowing up my phone begging for another chance, saying it was a mistake and that she still loves me. But I don't see how I could ever trust her again after such a massive betrayal that went on for years. Tom has also tried reaching out, probably to do damage control, but I've ignored all his messages so far. I'm angry, hurt, and completely lost about what to do next. How do I even begin to move forward from something like this? Should I try to maintain a relationship with Haley even though she's not biologically mine? Do I tell Rachel about the affair or let Tom deal with that? Any advice would be appreciated because right now I feel like my entire life has fallen apart. Update 1: It's been about 2 weeks since I found out about Lara's affair with Tom and that he's Haley's biological father. A lot has happened since then and I wanted to give an update. First, I ended up telling Rachel, Tom's wife, about the affair. I felt she deserved to know the truth, even if it wasn't my place to tell her. I invited her over to my place while Tom was at work and showed her the text messages I had found. She was absolutely devastated, even more so when she learned that Haley was actually Tom's daughter. Apparently they had been struggling with infertility for years and had just started looking into IVF options. Rachel told me they had been trying to have a baby for their entire 10-year marriage. They had gone through multiple rounds of fertility treatments, all of which failed. It had put a huge strain on their relationship and finances. Finding out her husband had fathered a child with someone else while she was going through all that was a huge blow. Rachel left Tom immediately after finding out. She's staying with her sister for now while she figures out her next steps. Tom tried to beg for forgiveness but she wasn't having any of it. I actually feel bad for her, she's collateral damage in this whole mess through no fault of her own. As for Lara, she's still trying to convince me to give her another chance. She keeps saying it was a mistake, that she loves me and wants to work things out for our family. She claims the affair just happened and that she never meant to hurt me. But I just can't get past the years of lying and sneaking around. Plus, the fact that she deliberately got pregnant by another man and passed the child off as mine for 2 years is unforgivable in my eyes. Lara has tried to explain her reasons for the affair. She said she felt neglected and unappreciated in our marriage. Apparently Tom made her feel desired and important in a way that I wasn't. She also said that after having Emma, she worried that I saw her more as a mother than a woman. Tom apparently made her feel sexy and wanted again. I'll admit that our marriage wasn't perfect. We both got caught up in work and parenting and maybe didn't put as much effort into our relationship as we should have. But that's no excuse for cheating, let alone carrying on a years-long affair and getting pregnant by another man. I've told Lara firmly that reconciliation is not an option and that I'm moving forward with the divorce. She's devastated but I think she's finally starting to accept that it's over. She's moved most of her things out of the house and is staying with her sister for now. I met with a lawyer and we're in the process of filing for divorce. I'm pushing for primary custody of Emma. The situation with Haley is more complicated. Legally I'm still her father since I'm on the birth certificate, but Tom could potentially challenge that given he's the biological father. For now, I'm including her in the custody arrangement because regardless of biology, I've been her dad for the past 2 years and I do love her. But I'm not sure what the long-term solution will be. Tom has tried reaching out to me multiple times to explain and apologize. I finally agreed to meet with him, mostly to discuss the Haley situation. It did not go well. He tried to justify the affair by saying he and Lara had a real connection and that I wasn't meeting her needs. He claimed they never meant for it to go on so long or for Lara to get pregnant. I nearly punched him when he had the audacity to say he considered me a friend and never meant to hurt me. This is a guy who came over to my house, played with my kids, drank beers with me, all while sleeping with my wife behind my back. I told him exactly what I thought of him and his fake friendship. In the end, I told Tom to stay the hell away from me and my family, and that any communication regarding Haley would go through our lawyers from now on. He tried to argue that he had a right to be in Haley's life as her biological father, but I shut that down quick. As far as I'm concerned, he gave up any right to call himself her father when he chose to let me raise her as my own for 2 years. The hardest part has been explaining the situation to Emma. She's old enough to realize something major is happening but too young to fully understand. I've tried to keep things vague, just telling her that mommy and daddy aren't going to be living together anymore. She's been having a hard time with it though, lots of tears and tantrums. She doesn't understand why she can't see mommy as much anymore or why daddy seems so sad all the time. I'm trying my best to maintain her routine and sense of stability, but it's not easy. Lara and I are doing custody exchanges through a neutral third party to minimize contact and drama in front of Emma. We're also looking into family therapy to help Emma process everything in an age-appropriate way. I'm still processing everything emotionally. Some days I'm consumed by anger, other days I just feel numb. I've started seeing a therapist to try to work through it all. Friends and family have been supportive, but unless you've been through something like this, it's hard to truly understand how it feels. The range of emotions is overwhelming: anger at Lara and Tom for their betrayal, sadness at the loss of the life I thought I had, fear and uncertainty about the future, guilt over whether I could have done something to prevent this, love for my girls mixed with pain when I look at Haley. It's a lot to process. For now, I'm just trying to take things day by day and focus on being there for my girls. I'm throwing myself into work and spending as much quality time with Emma and Haley as I can. Their smiles and laughter are sometimes the only things getting me through the day. The future is still very uncertain, especially regarding Haley's situation, but I'm doing my best to stay strong and make the best decisions I can for my family. Any advice on how to move forward or handle the custody situation would be greatly appreciated. Update 2: It's been about 2 months since my last update, and unfortunately things have only gotten more complicated. The biggest development is that Tom is now seeking custody of Haley. His wife Rachel filed for divorce and is taking him for everything she can, so I think he's trying to assert his rights as Haley's biological father, partly to spite her. He claims he wants to be involved in Haley's life and step up as her real dad. I'm furious about this. Tom had no interest in acknowledging Haley as his daughter until his own life started falling apart. Now suddenly he wants to play dad? I've been the one raising her for the past 2 years, changing diapers, soothing her crying, loving her as my own. The thought of potentially losing her to Tom makes me sick. My lawyer says I have a decent case to maintain custody since I'm the legal father on the birth certificate and have been acting as Haley's dad since birth. But Tom being the biological father does complicate things. We're headed for a custody battle and it's going to get ugly. Tom's lawyer sent over some initial custody proposals. He's pushing for joint legal and physical custody, with Haley spending equal time at both houses. There's no way in hell I'm agreeing to that. Haley doesn't even know Tom as anything other than our neighbor. Suddenly spending half her time with him would be confusing and traumatic for her. We had our first mediation session last week to try to work out a custody agreement. It did not go well. Tom kept talking about his parental rights and how he wants to make up for lost time with his daughter. I pointed out that he willingly gave up those rights when he chose to let me raise Haley as my own for 2 years. If he really cared about being her father, he would have stepped up from the beginning instead of lying and sneaking around. The mediator tried to get us to find some middle ground, but we're too far apart. Tom wants 50-50 custody, while I don't want him to have any custody at all. We couldn't agree on anything, so now we're headed to court. I'm trying to prepare myself for a long and nasty legal battle. My lawyer says we have a strong case given that I'm the only father Haley has ever known. But family court can be unpredictable, especially in cases involving biological versus legal parents. I'm terrified of losing Haley or having to share her with Tom. Lara is actually siding with me in the custody dispute, saying she wants me to remain Haley's primary father figure. I think she realizes how badly she screwed up and is trying to make amends. But I don't trust her motivations. For all I know, she could be trying to manipulate me into reconciling. Speaking of Lara, she's still pushing for us to try marriage counseling and work things out. She even ambushed me with a counselor one day when I went to pick up the girls' things. I shut that down real quick and told her to stop trying. There's no coming back from what she did. Lara claims she's realized how much she loves me and our family, and that the affair was the biggest mistake of her life. She says she'll do anything to save our marriage. But as far as I'm concerned, our marriage ended the moment she chose to sleep with Tom. The years of lying and betrayal are too much to come back from. Emma is still having a hard time with everything. Her teachers have reported she's acting out in school and her grades are slipping. She's become very clingy with me and has frequent meltdowns, especially around custody exchanges. I've gotten her into play therapy to try to help her process things in an age-appropriate way. It kills me to see how this situation is affecting her. Haley is still too young to really understand what's going on, but I think she senses the tension. She's been having more tantrums lately and is very resistant to change in her routine. I'm doing my best to maintain stability for her, but with the looming custody battle I'm worried about how it will affect her. As for me, I'm hanging in there, but some days are really tough. I'm trying to stay busy with work and focusing on the girls, but the anger and pain are still very raw. I've had a few nights where I drank way too much trying to numb the feelings. I know that's not a healthy coping mechanism though, so I'm making an effort to cut back. I've been trying to take better care of myself physically and mentally. I joined a gym and have been working out regularly to burn off some of the stress and anger. I've also been trying to eat healthier and get enough sleep, though that's not always easy with everything going on. The one bright spot is that I've been getting closer with Rachel, Tom's soon-to-be ex-wife, through all this. We've been meeting up for coffee regularly to vent and support each other as we navigate our divorces. It's nice to have someone who truly understands what I'm going through. To be clear, there's nothing romantic there, we're just friends supporting each other through a difficult time. Rachel has been a great source of support and information. She shared some details about her marriage to Tom that have helped me understand the situation better. Apparently Tom has a history of infidelity. Lara wasn't his first affair. Rachel found out about a previous affair a few years ago but chose to forgive him and try to work things out. Now she feels like a fool for giving him a second chance. So that's where things stand for now. The divorce proceedings are moving forward and we have a custody hearing scheduled for next month. I'm trying to stay hopeful that I'll be able to maintain custody of both girls, but I'm also bracing myself for a long and nasty legal battle ahead. Update 3: It's been about 6 months since this whole nightmare began, and I wanted to give one final update on the situation. The divorce from Laura was finalized last month. In the end, we agreed on joint custody of Emma with me having primary physical custody. Laura gets her every other weekend and one night during the week for dinner. It's not ideal, but it's what's best for Emma to maintain a relationship with both parents. As for Haley, that situation turned out to be even more of a mess. The custody battle with Tom dragged on for months, with multiple hearings and evaluations. We had to do DNA tests to officially establish paternity, even though we all knew the results. There were home studies, interviews with a court-appointed guardian ad litem for Haley, and psychological evaluations for all the adults involved. In the end, the judge ruled that Tom and I would share joint legal and physical custody. Haley will primarily live with me, but Tom gets her 2 weekends a month and 1 evening a week. The judge said that while Tom is the biological father, I've been Haley's primary caregiver and the only father she's known, so it's in her best interest to maintain that stability. I'm not thrilled about Tom being in Haley's life, but I'm trying to make the best of it for her sake. We're doing exchanges through a neutral third party to minimize contact between us. Tom seems to be taking the dad role seriously so far, but I'm staying vigilant. We have very strict rules about communication and decision-making for Haley. The hardest part has been explaining to Haley, in age-appropriate terms, who Tom is and why she'll be spending time with him. She's still too young to fully understand the concept of biological versus legal parents. For now, we're just calling Tom her special friend and saying that she gets to have 2 dads who love her very much. It's not perfect, but it's the best we could come up with for now. Laura has finally stopped pushing for reconciliation and seems to have accepted that our marriage is over for good. She's started seeing someone new, which stung at first, but I'm trying to be mature about it. We're working on co-parenting civilly for the girl's sake. It's not always easy, but we're both trying to put our personal feelings aside and focus on what's best for Emma and Haley. Emma is doing better with the new routine. The play therapy has really helped her process everything. Her grades have improved and she's back to her usual happy self most of the time. She still has moments of sadness about the divorce, but overall she's adjusting well. She's even started to form a relationship with Tom, which is bittersweet for me to watch. Haley is too young to really understand what's going on, but she seems to be handling the back and forth between houses okay. She's always excited to see Tom, which hurts sometimes, but I know it's good for her. I'm dreading the day when she's old enough to learn the full truth about her parentage, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. As for me, I'm slowly healing and moving forward with my life. I've started casually dating again, though I'm taking things very slow. I'm not ready for anything serious yet, but it's nice to get out there and remember that there are other fish in the sea. Rachel and I are still good friends. She's been a great support through everything. We get together regularly to catch up and commiserate about our ex-spouses. It's nice to have someone who understands exactly what I'm going through. Financially, things have been tough with all the legal fees from the divorce and custody battle. I had to dip into my savings and take on some extra work to make ends meet. But I'm slowly getting back on track and building up my finances again. I won't say I'm fully over what happened, but I'm in a much better place than I was 6 months ago. The pain and anger aren't as raw anymore. I still have moments where it all hits me again, but they're becoming less frequent. My focus now is on being the best dad I can be to my girls and building a happy life for us. It's not the life I thought I'd have, but I'm making the best of it. The girls are my world and seeing them happy and thriving despite everything we've been through gives me strength. This will be my final update. Thank you to everyone who offered support and advice throughout this ordeal. If nothing else, I hope my story can serve as a cautionary tale about the devastating impact of infidelity. To anyone going through something similar, it does get better. It's a long and painful process, but you will come out the other side stronger.